Hello boys and girls, we are on 28th of March, Tuesday. This is the start of my issues. I lent this particular one to my friend, and when I got it back I broke that. Well, that's a different story. So anyway, I lent him this and then he wanted one himself, so I machined up one of these arbors, longer than this because it's a lot bigger machine than mine, and I did it between centres using a 4-jaw chuck. Now everything went okay, but I must admit when I was tightening it up I did hear a bit of a clunk, and so did Rob when he was here. And it was only a few days later when I took the chuck, I went to take the centre out of the chuck, that I found what the clunk was. And as you can see, I was a bit pissed to be honest, but anyway. So it's broken the adjusting screw in the 4-jaw chuck. I bought the chuck itself, which is here. There we go. I bought it quite a long time ago. Well, not that long ago actually. From a company called RDG. There's the other jaw. There's a bit out of the middle that holds it all together. Well, it holds the adjusting screw in. So I rang RDG up, and surprisingly, I'm not going to slag them off because I've bought quite a few bits and bobs off them over time. They've always been pretty good. Postage has always been quick, responsive, you know, all that sort of thing. But I must admit I was a bit gutted when they said they don't keep spares for these particular chucks. He did give me a number of another company and I rang them up and they asked me where I got it from, and I told them, and he just laughed at me and said, "It's a Chinese chuck, mate, you've got no chance at all." So I thought, well, I'm a bit snookered now, I don't know what I'm going to do. I mean, you would think the people who sell the chucks would keep the spare screws, wouldn't you? But obviously not. So anyway, my mate Rob, who I made the other arbor for, he called down to see me, just on the off chance for a cup of tea, and I told him what had happened, and he was like, "Oh, bloody hell." So anyway, I was having a look at it, and we're seriously thinking about making one. We left it at that. I thought I'll have a think about this tomorrow because I was a bit busy at the time. And then the next night Robin rang me up and he said, "How are you getting on with that chuck, Al?" And I said, "Well, I'm not." "Why?" And he says, "I've had a word with my lad, and my lad has got 3 of those adjusting screws, maybe even 4. To which I said, "Well, are you sure that they'll fit my chuck?" And he went, "Yeah, they're universal, they'll fit any chuck." "I'm coming down to Raisin shortly," he said, which is near where I live. "I'm going to get some petrol for my mower. I'll call up and see you and drop them off." So I thought, oh, result. We're going to be laughing now. I shall soon have this chuck up and running again. So anyway, about an hour later, he turns up. And he put that in front of me. Which I suppose many people would turn around and say thank you. Well, my first response was, "You twat." And like he says, there is at least 3 in there, isn't there? Possibly 4. Thank you very much, Rob. So what we're going to have to do is cut this down in the bandsaw, see if we can get a usable length out of it. Now it's cast iron, the same as these screws. Somebody did ask me, one of my other friends, why I didn't make it out of steel. Well, to cut the thread on this, Rob and I looked in Machinery's handbook, we looked on the internet, and I couldn't find any information on this particular thread whatsoever. Now the best that we can come up with is it's a 4-pitch metric thread. I'll hold this up, I don't know whether you'll be able to see it or not, but if I put that between Oh, that focus that close. You can see between there, look, it's bang on 4. So it's a 4-pitch metric thread. I can cut that on my lathe, but it's not quite straightforward as that. Look, I'm going to square all in one end, which all I can think, if I can cut this thread, we'll put that in a V-block in the mill and mill those corners out and mill a square hole best we can. Now the thread, it's not only a square thread, it's a left-handed thread as well, which I'm not too bothered about. I've got my little dimensions here of everything it is. 2 inch 205 long, that part in the middle, that bit there, 429. The gap between this shoulder and that shoulder when it's together, 400, and the overall diameter this way, 862. Now the width of these threads in here, I'm going to see if I can find some gauge blocks to see if I can get a more accurate measurement there, because to be honest, I've literally just been measuring it just like that, and I'm getting 91 thou no matter what I do. So you would think it's about that, wouldn't you? The depth of it, the depth of the thread, 95 thou deep, 4-pitch, left hand. Sounds simple, doesn't it? It is actually not a bad fit in there, to be fair. Oops, come here, little sucker. So what we still have to do is cut this down. See if we can find a usable piece of cast out of there. Now, it should be strong enough because it's off the back of a tractor. But then again, if it had a weak spot, let's just hope it was there and nowhere else. Now the problem I'm going to have threading this is, I can do it like this. Imagine that's your lathe, bedways. Everybody comes in, don't they, with their threading tool, like that. At that angle, 29 degrees they come in, and just keep winding it in and cutting the thread and cutting the thread. However, you can't cut a square thread like that. It's going to have to be plunged straight in and then left hand cut. So how successful this is actually going to be, I don't know. I will grind up a threading tool which will look literally from the top like that sort of shape. I have a piece of square. Well, actually that might be more, if I had it in camera it'd be better, wouldn't it? Oops, wrong way. So it'll look something like that. I'm thinking on these sides 5 degree, and if you was looking at the tool from the side, obviously going to look like that, isn't it? I'll put maybe 8 degree there on that front edge and a 5 degree rake on the top there, just to give it a chance. I don't want to make it too sharp. That's about it really. So, first job, we'll release Robin's chuck screws out of this lump of cast. You are a twat, Coxie. And then we will, I think what I'll do is, will I put it between centres? I don't know. We'll have to see what we end up with. We'll get this in the saw first and haze it up and go from there. Saw needs a new blade in it, which I have got one, but we'll let it do it like this. I'll always put the new blade in for another job. put a new blade in it. There's the first bit. Actually left quite a good cut. So, we'll get this bit cut and then we can turn it the other way. Ah, while I remember, a chap called Peter James left a comment on one of my videos about my oil heater. If you watch this, Peter, the best thing I can tell you is don't do what I've done. I've tried all sorts of mine to get it to burn clean, and although on several occasions I've had it burning clean, it's been an absolute pain in the arse to keep it running like that. However, as a lad on YouTube, an Irish fella, if you just go onto YouTube and put in Jerry's waste oil burner, you'll come up with it, and he's called it the Minion Heater. It's a very, very simple design, and it works. Oh, it's the best one I've seen, and I've looked at loads because I've tried to make mine better. And you know that old saying, simple always seems to work so much better than complicated does, and Jerry's made it so simple, it works a treat. So check out Jerry's waste oil burner, and I think you'll find there what you're looking for. Should be straightforward to make as well. So there you go. See you in about 3 weeks. Oh, it's not quite as tight as you expect, are they? Right, here we are, 3 weeks later. One knackered slitting saw. You know, that was brand new. I bought that from RDG. I've no idea why. I should have rounded all the teeth off. It's not like it was doing an awful lot. I mean, it was only running at that running at 96 RPM. It's only cast iron, so it's a shame about this one. I don't know where this came from, but until I accidentally broke it, that's cut and cut and cut loads and loads of stuff. It's never been an issue, and that is just, well, let's not say, had we? Right, so here's our, or should I say, here's my 3 or 4 new screws, but I only want one. So we cut that off. Then we cut that off. Get rid of them 2 bits. And that leaves us with them 2. That's too thin. So then, so he's in there somewhere. We've just got to get him out here. So I think what I may end up doing is can't hold square or oblong in a 3-jaw chuck very well, can you? I need a 4-jaw chuck when I haven't got one. We shall have to give it a bit of thought and see what we're going to do next. I may end up putting it in a milling machine to square the ends off. I suppose I could clock it in then, couldn't I, on the mill, centre drill it, put it between two centres. Is it going to be long enough there? Get that on there. Yeah, most probably. Right, I'll have a think what we're going to do and then we'll come back. I hope you were right, Robin, that there is a screw inside this lump. I should be pissed if there isn't. Get in there. Lovely stuff, cast iron, isn't it? When I get these two ends cleaned up somehow, I'm going to see if I can centre drill them and then see if I can get this piece between centres. I think it's the only way I can do it. Without a forger I can't hold this. I just can't hold it. Simple as that. I keep looking for a new forger on eBay, but I haven't seen one yet, the right sort of money. They seem to be worth quite a lot of money nowadays. All down to that Adam Booth fella, I reckon. In fact, it's Adam Booth's fault that my chuck is broken. Because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be using the bloody thing. But I do use it a fair bit nowadays after watching how Adam gets on with it and how quickly he sets it up, and when you get your eye in it doesn't take very long, and it just means you can set everything up pretty quick. For anything small, I made a little collet chuck, so that does that alright. I suppose a 4-jaw self-centering chuck would be alright. But then again, a 6-jaw one like some of the boys in the States have would be very nice as well, but I'm afraid my pockets are not that deep. Or maybe they are and I just can't reach the money. It must be it. You don't actually need to clean the whole end up as long as I've got just past the middle. Let's see where we are. Tell you what, we're about there. I think I'll take one more cut and then call that done, I think. Making me feel sick because it's running so much out of whack. Out of wad means not square to anybody that's not heard that before. Or not true, should I say. I'm wondering if I can pack it with something in the jaws to get it somewhere close to the centre and then drill it. As long as I can get the centres in reasonably close, I think we maybe be alright. Anyway, We shall find out soon. Well, near time's getting on a bit, isn't it? 5:30. That's enough, I think. Yeah, mucky cast iron. Right. So I think what I'll do, I'll just mark this, get as near as I can to centre at both ends, and then I'll just see if I can pack it in here with something, because the trouble is on my mill it's going to be, well, it might be better on my mill actually. I need to try and jam it up there like that and drill it. I was thinking, what if I could get that somewhere near, doesn't look too far out at that actually. That's about as much good as tits on a bull, isn't it? Right. Catch you in a bit. Right, so this is my setup. A bit Heath Robinson, but I'll turn this end round. That's not very good. Dig in the back of your hand, is it? Looks like we should clear. Maybe not quite get that far, I'll get to about there, I think. Well, to me like that'll be the first. Just catch in there. We'll call that 0 for the time being. Right, let's see what happens. Tighten the tailstock up out. Just catching there, so let's go 20,000, shall we? In for a penny, in for a pound, as they say. Interrupted cuts are always a pain in the you know what, aren't they? But unfortunately, we don't have a lot of choice. See how many weeks it takes to turn this down then. Quite a while, that. What are we running at? Just over 200 revs. 4 thou on the feed. Could maybe go a bit more, but I think until we've done one pass to the end here, we'll see where we get to first. I don't want to all of a sudden have a big clump. Sounds awful. Right, I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this out and chuck it on this end. So, because it's been an absolute nightmare to turn. I don't know where that Rob on the moor gets his steel from, but I have a feeling it's from the devil himself. Oops, knock the gear off out, you pillar. Right. Oops. Oh, come out of the way. Stay there. Right, what we're looking for. Chuck key, you big dilbit. Yeah, I've no idea what this stuff is, but Satan himself only knows. Rob gave me a piece of 2-inch square bar once to I was making a vise for a little milling machine I used to have. And I've never turned anything as hard in my life as what that was. It was so unpredictable, it was unbelievable. I cut a slot down one side of this bar with a 1/2-inch milling cutter, no problem whatsoever. The same piece of steel on the other side, however, same size slot, everything. I went through 6 milling cutters to cut a slot. What was it? I should say it was about, well, it was the length of that box. It was 7.5 inches long by about, what would it have been, about 1/4 inch deep. I think I went through 6 milling cutters cutting it, and I said to Rob, where on earth did you get this steel from? And it turns out it's what they used to use years ago for making PTO shafts for Massey Ferguson tractors. It was unbelievable. And he just laughed. I asked you. So what we'll do, we'll see if we can turn this side down just to match the other. Then we'll pull it out a bit. And then I suppose then we'll have to sort of get it machined to size and then grind the cutter up. Now I was saying 16 hours 13 minutes camcorder remaining, 33 hours on the iPad. I would like to think we'll get it done before I run out of either one of them, but you never know. I'll keep machining this down till we get somewhere close and then I'll bring you back. I don't know what the hell this stuff's made of. That was a sharp cutter. I decided to mill the sides down a bit because it was knocking hell out of the lathe, and it's just took the corners clean off. It only went 1/4 inch, half the width of the cutter. So I don't know what Rob's given me. I wonder if Lucifer knows what's got it. But you can see I put it on the mill and just run up and down it. Took the edges off. I had to do it with a 10mm carbide M-mill. So what worries me now is I get all this done and get it round and then machine it down to size. It's whether I can actually screw cut it with a high-speed steel form tool. Because you have to go straight in with a cutter, like I was saying before. You can't you can't go in at an angle because it's a square thread. So we'll have to see what happens. But it doesn't even chip like cast iron does. It's not powdery, that's what it's like, look. Whatever the hell it is, it's bloody horrible. But if it'll screw cut, it should be pretty strong. But if I have another chuck screw brake, I ain't looking forward to making another one out of this. But anyway, we'll have to see where we get. I'll let that run to the end and I think that'll be it for tonight. Well, for this afternoon really. Girlfriend's just rung up, she's got a puncture. It looks like I'm going to have to go out and change the wheel. Right, catch you later.